I oftentimes get a lot of questions about how I treat my post-op patients, and I use something called the rule of sixes. So, the rule of sixes really, for me, makes everything make sense. I break all my post-op patients up into groups of 6 weeks. So, I have my first 6 weeks, my second 6 weeks, and then from there, I go to the 6 month mark. So, let's go through how this works. Originally in school, you probably aren't going to learn a lot about post-op rehab. You have obviously a lot to learn to pass your board. So when it comes to post-op rehab, the first experiences you may have might be in the clinics. So the rule of sixes should help out. So for the first 6 weeks, our main goal and the primary goal, and I'll translate this to shoulder or elbows because that's what I see most of. But the main goal is to get somebody out of pain and restore, or at least begin to restore their motion. So that's what I call the protection phase. So if you can go 6 weeks, help minimize soreness, minimize pain, get a little bit of motion back, get them trending positive, get that shoulder or the elbow just to get quiet, where there's not a lot of inflammation, there's not a lot of soreness, they're able to function a little bit at home, then that's a success. So most of the healing, so some could argue up to 80% of the healing is going to happen that first 6 weeks. So we really want to do everything we can to promote healing, protect the joint, whatever repair it was, whether it's a rotator cuff, a labral repair, shoulder stabilization, elbows, if it's a UCL reconstruction, get it calmed down for the first 6 weeks. From 6 to 12, that's where you're going to focus on really restoring full motion. So if you have a shoulder stabilization, for instance, you might want to get them from that 120-ish degree mark all the way back to 170, 180 degrees by 12 weeks. So your goal for that second 6 weeks is to restore range of motion and activate the muscles. And by activate the muscles, I don't mean aggressive strengthening. I'm talking shoulder blade activation, postural stabilization and strengthening, postural awareness. So we want to try and prevent more atrophy from occurring in this second group of 6 weeks. And then the next 6 is 6 months. So by 6 months for a stabilization procedure or for a rotator cuff, that's when they can start to return to some sort of contact. So if you have an anterior stabilization, you're getting back to basketball, it's typically 6 months for contact, or lacrosse, or whatever sport you may see. So, and then you've got to fill in the gaps with your, individualized rehab programs. And they, of course, have to pass return to play criteria. But I think if you just in your mind think 6, 6, and 6. First 6 weeks, get them out of pain, protect it, and allow it to heal. Second 6 weeks, so from 6 to 12 weeks, now we're restoring range of motion. And by 6 months, the goal is return them to contact or return them to play. So that's something that has made sense to me over the years. It really stands true for most of the joints that you'll treat, but especially for my shoulders. So hopefully that helps. Obviously, there's a lot of filling in the gaps there with exercises and progressions, but I think if you can get those time frames down, whether you see an anterior labral repair or posterior labral repair, a slap, a capsule, you really can fit a lot of them into that same category. So hope that helps, and plenty more to come.